My mom banned my son's ninth B-day because my sister's kids didn't feel special enough. So we packed that night and vanished. A year later, the cousins saw how happy my kid was and my sister lost it. The meltdown that came next tore the family apart. One phone call, 2 weeks before my son's ninth birthday, blew my entire family apart. It started with a bounce house and ended with us disappearing overnight. What happened next, no one saw coming. The silence in my small apartment that night was deafening, broken only by the quiet sobs of my son, Ethan. Outside, the summer night hummed with life, but inside, our world had just crumbled. I was supposed to be planning the party of his dreams, but instead, I was staring at a shattered reality. It's been over a year since that night, and what happened last month finally proves I made the right choice. I'm Harper, a single mom to the most incredible kid in the world. Ethan has been my whole universe since his father walked out when he was 2. We'd built a life that was small, but overflowing with love. I honestly thought my family understood that, but I was wrong. My older sister, Sophia, had always been the golden child. She married rich, had 3 kids, Chloe, Ava, and Liam, and lived in a McMansion just 20 minutes from our mother's house. Me? I worked 2 jobs to keep Ethan and me afloat in our modest apartment. But I never complained. I was proud of what we'd built, and Ethan never went without the important things. Our aunt, Brenda, my mom's sister, lived 2 hours away and was always supportive. But her own health and the distance meant she couldn't get as involved as she wanted. She'd send cards and gifts for Ethan's birthdays, but couldn't host events or mediate family conflicts. Every year, I saved specifically for Ethan's birthday. It was our thing. I'd plan something special, invite his school friends, and make sure he felt truly celebrated. His 8th birthday was a bowling party with pizza and arcade games, and he talked about it for months. When Ethan's 9th birthday approached, he asked if we could do something at home this time. He desperately wanted a backyard party with a bounce house, just like his best friend Owen had. We didn't have a backyard, but my mom did. She'd hosted family gatherings there for years, so I figured it wouldn't be a problem. I called her 3 months in advance. Mom, I remember saying, Ethan's birthday is in June, and he really wants a bounce house party. Would it be okay if we used your backyard? She sounded thrilled. Of course, sweetheart. That sounds wonderful. Ethan deserves something special. I immediately dove into planning. I found a reasonably priced bounce house rental, ordered dinosaur-themed decorations. Ethan was obsessed with paleontology, and even splurged on a custom cake. I sent invitations to his entire 3rd grade class, plus a few kids from his soccer team, about 30 kids total. Ethan helped with every detail. He picked out games, chose the playlist, even designed his own thank you cards. Watching his excitement grow week by week made every extra shift I picked up feel worth it. 2 weeks before the party, Sophia called. Her voice had that syrupy, fake sweet tone she used when she wanted something. Hey, Harper, she cooed. Mom mentioned Ethan's party. The kids are really excited to come. Oh, that's great, I said, genuinely happy. Her kids were 10, 7, and 5. They'd attended Ethan's parties before. So, Sophia continued, since all the kids will be there anyway, maybe we could make it a joint celebration? Chloe's birthday is only 3 weeks after Ethan's. We could do a big summer birthday bash for both of them. My stomach dropped. Chloe was her eldest, turning 11. Sophia, I've already sent out invitations. Everything says it's Ethan's 9th birthday party, right? But we could just add Chloe's name. I could bring another cake. It would be so much easier than planning 2 separate parties, and the kids would love celebrating together. I took a deep breath. I appreciate the idea, but I've been planning this specifically for Ethan for months. This is his party. There was a heavy pause. Wow. Okay. I just thought since we're family, we could share, but I guess not. She hung up before I could even respond. I should have seen what was coming. 3 days later, Mom called. Her tone was different now, careful and measured. Harper, honey, I need to talk to you about Ethan's party. Sure. What's up? Well, Sophia mentioned her idea about combining it with Chloe's birthday, and I think that's really lovely. It would be so nice for the cousins to celebrate together. Mom, I already told Sophia no. Everything's planned for Ethan. This is his day. I understand that, sweetie. But Sophia's feelings are hurt. She thinks you don't want her kids there. That's not true at all. They're invited. But I'm not turning Ethan's party into a joint celebration when everything's already planned. Mom sighed heavily. Harper, I need you to think about this practically. Sophia was planning to use my backyard for Chloe's party anyway. If we're going to have 2 parties 3 weeks apart, my lawn is going to be destroyed. Then have them further apart. I booked this date months ago. Don't be selfish. This affects the whole family. That word, selfish, hit me like a slap. I'd spent my entire adult life sacrificing for Ethan, working myself to exhaustion to give him a good life. Planning one special day for my son wasn't selfish. Mom, I'm not changing Ethan's party. I'm sorry if that's inconvenient, but this isn't negotiable. Another heavy sigh. Fine, but Sophia is very upset, and her kids are going to be disappointed when they see all the other children celebrating. We left it at that, but I felt uneasy. I knew my mother and sister. This wasn't over. The Monday before the party, Mom called again. I was at work, stocking shelves at the grocery store during my morning shift. Harper, I need to tell you something, and you're not going to like it. My heart started pounding. What? I've decided you can't have Ethan's party at my house. The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. What are you talking about? It's this Saturday. I have 30 kids coming. I've already paid for the bounce house. I'm sorry, but Sophia's children are very upset about this whole situation. Ava cried herself to sleep last night because she doesn't understand why Ethan gets a big party and Chloe doesn't. Ava was 5. She probably had no idea what was going on. Mom, this is insane. You agreed to this 3 months ago. I didn't realize it would cause so much family discord. Sophia feels like you're excluding her children, and I can't allow my home to be used for something that's dividing this family. Dividing the family? I'm throwing my son a birthday party. A party you refuse to share with your niece. Honestly, Harper, I raised you better than this. Family comes first. Rage burned through me. So Ethan doesn't get a birthday party at all because Sophia's kids might feel bad? You can do something small just for Ethan. Take him to a movie or something. But I won't have my home used for this oversized event. When your sister's children are being left out, they're not being left out. They're invited as guests while Ethan gets to be the star. Do you know how that makes them feel? It's his birthday. And Chloe's is 3 weeks later. You're being incredibly insensitive to your niece. I was shaking. So, let me get this straight. You're canceling Ethan's party, which has been planned for months, because Sophia doesn't want her kids to feel bad that someone else gets attention? I'm not canceling anything. You can celebrate however you want, just not at my house. I paid for a bounce house rental that's being delivered to your address on Saturday. Then you'll have to cancel it or have them deliver it somewhere else. I'm sorry, Harper, but this is final. Maybe next year you'll be more considerate about including the whole family. She hung up. I stood in the break room, staring at my phone, tears streaming down my face. My shift supervisor found me there 20 minutes later. I immediately called the bounce house company. They couldn't redirect delivery on such short notice, and their cancellation policy meant I'd lose the entire $300 deposit. The money was just gone. That evening, I had to tell Ethan. He was at the kitchen table doing homework when I sat down beside him. "Buddy, I need to talk to you about your party." His face lit up. "Did the bounce house people call? What color is it?" My heart shattered. "Sweetie, there's been a change of plans. Grandma can't let us use her yard anymore." His smile faded. "Why not? How do you explain adult cruelty to a child? She has some stuff going on at her house. But don't worry, we'll figure something out." "Can we use the park?" I'd already considered that. The parks don't allow bounce house rentals. "Honey, what about Owen's backyard?" "That's not really something I can ask, buddy." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. "So, I don't get a party?" "We'll do something. I promise. Maybe we can take your friends to the movies or to that trampoline park you like." But I told everyone about the bounce house. I told him about the dinosaur cake. I pulled him into my arms while he cried. He wasn't throwing a tantrum or being bratty. He was just sad, and that was so much worse. This was a kid who never asked for much, who understood we couldn't afford everything his cousins had, who wore hand-me-downs without complaining. The one time I could give him something big, my family had destroyed it. After Ethan went to bed, I spent hours trying to salvage something. I called my mom to ask if I could at least have them deliver the bounce house to her house so I wouldn't lose the money entirely. Maybe I could invite just a few of Ethan's closest friends for a small gathering. "Absolutely not," she said. "I told you nothing is happening here. If you let them deliver that thing to my property, I'll send it away." "Mom, I already lost $300. You should have thought about that before you put yourself in this position. This is a learning experience, Harper. Family has to come first." I hung up and cried until I had no tears left. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I couldn't face people. I spent the day canceling everything I could and trying to salvage some kind of celebration. The cake bakery agreed to hold Ethan's cake for pickup and swap it to a smaller size. The decoration company refunded half my payment, but that bounce house rental was gone. Ethan stayed quiet all day at school. His teacher called me that afternoon. "Hi Harper, this is Mrs. Patterson. I wanted to check in about Ethan. He seemed really down today, and at lunch he told his friends that his birthday party was cancelled." Fresh tears came. "There was a family issue. We're trying to figure out an alternative." "I'm sorry to hear that. Ethan's such a sweet kid. Let me know if there's anything the school can do to help." There wasn't. Nobody could fix this. That night, Sophia called. I almost didn't answer. "Hey," she said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "Mom told me what happened. That's really too bad about the party." "You mean the party you sabotaged?" "Excuse me? I didn't sabotage anything. You made your choice. I planned a birthday party for my son. You decided that wasn't acceptable unless your daughter got equal billing. My kids matter too, Harper. Just because you only have one child doesn't mean the rest of us should have to dim our lights so Ethan can shine. This has nothing to do with lights or shining. It's a birthday party. Right? And Chloe has a birthday, too. But somehow Ethan's is more important. Mom's backyard is a family resource, not your personal party venue." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Sophia, do you understand what you've done? Ethan has been planning this for months. He invited his entire class. I've spent nearly $1,000. Maybe you should have consulted the family before making such big plans. We could have done something together that everyone would enjoy. It's not your birthday. It's not Chloe's birthday yet. It's Ethan's birthday. And you've made it very clear that Ethan is the only one who matters. Good to know where we stand." She hung up. I sat in the silence of my apartment, understanding with perfect clarity that my family would never prioritize Ethan the way I did. He would always be secondary to Sophia's kids, always expected to share and sacrifice and make do with less so his cousins could have more. I called my mom one more time. Please reconsider. Ethan is heartbroken. So are Ava, Chloe, and Liam. They don't understand why their cousin gets a huge party and they don't get to be part of it. Because it's not their birthday. Family shares, Harper. When you decide to be part of this family again, let me know. That was the moment I made my decision. If Ethan and I weren't truly part of this family, then we'd stop pretending we were. I stayed up all night making plans. By morning, I'd found us a new apartment in a town an hour and a half away. It was closer to my evening job anyway, and the cost of living was slightly lower. I gave notice at the grocery store, explained the situation to my night job manager, and arranged to transfer to a different location. I contacted the school district in our new town. They had rolling enrollment and could accommodate Ethan for the upcoming fall semester as long as I provided proof of residency by mid-July. Ethan came home from school on Wednesday to find me packing. What's happening? We're moving, buddy. Fresh start. What about my party? We're going to celebrate your birthday this weekend. Just you and me. We'll go to that trampoline park and have dinner at your favorite restaurant. Then next month, after we're settled in our new place, you can have a party and invite kids from your new school. We're moving? Yeah, it'll be an adventure. Ethan looked around our small apartment. What about Grandma and Aunt Sophia? We're going to take a break from them for a while. He thought about this. Because they canceled my party? I knelt down to his level. Because they don't treat us the way families should treat each other, and we deserve better than that. Okay, he said simply. Then can I bring all my dinosaur books? Every single one. Over the next few hours, as we began sorting through our belongings, Ethan asked more questions. He wanted to know if he'd ever see his cousins again. I told him maybe someday, when things were different. He asked if he did something wrong. That question broke my heart into pieces I wasn't sure would ever fit back together. Buddy, you didn't do anything wrong. You're a kid who wanted a birthday party. That's normal. That's what kids should want. But Chloe wanted one too, he said, trying to logic through it the way 9-year-olds do. Chloe will get her own party on her own birthday. Your party wasn't taking anything away from her. He nodded slowly, processing. Then he said something that made me realize just how much he'd been absorbing all these years. Aunt Sophia's house is really big, and Grandma always talks about how smart Chloe is at piano. And Liam got to go to that expensive soccer camp. I stopped folding clothes. What are you saying, honey? I think maybe Grandma likes them more because they have more stuff. Because Uncle David has a good job. The fact that my 9-year-old had figured out the family dynamics I'd been pretending didn't exist gutted me. Come here, I said, pulling him onto the couch. Listen to me very carefully. Your worth has nothing to do with what stuff you have or what activities you do. You are valuable because you're you. You're kind and curious and funny and smart. Anyone who can't see that isn't worth your time. Even if they're family, especially if they're family. Family is supposed to build you up, not make you feel less than. Ethan leaned against me. I like our apartment. I don't need a big house. I know you don't. You're an amazing kid. We sat there for a while, and I made a silent promise to myself that I would never again put him in a position where he felt like he had to earn love by being less, by wanting less, by being smaller so someone else could be bigger. We spent the next 3 days packing up our life. I didn't tell my mother or sister. I didn't tell anyone except the necessary people at work and school. On Friday, I rented a U-Haul. On Saturday, Ethan's actual birthday, we loaded up everything we owned and drove away. I took Ethan to the trampoline park first. We jumped for 2 hours until we were both exhausted, laughing. Then, we went to his favorite burger place, and I let him order whatever he wanted. We sat in a booth by the window, and he smiled more genuinely than he had in weeks. "This is a good birthday, Mom," he said. "Even without the bounce house." "I'm sorry you didn't get your party, buddy." He shrugged. "Maybe the new kids will be cooler anyway." We drove to our new town that evening. The apartment was small but bright, with a park visible from the living room window. We slept on air mattresses that first night, surrounded by boxes, and Ethan never once complained. My phone started ringing on Sunday. My mom first, then Sophia, both multiple times. I didn't answer. By Monday, the text started. "Mom, Harper, where are you? I came by your apartment and you're not there." "Sophia, Mom is freaking out." "What's going on?" "Mom, this is ridiculous. Call me back immediately." "Sophia, are you seriously ignoring us? How mature." I blocked both their numbers. I was done. The next few months were hard but good. Ethan adjusted to his new school quickly. He made friends, joined the science club, and started seeming lighter somehow. Like a weight had lifted. I worked hard, picked up extra shifts, and slowly built up our savings again. His new school was different from his old one. It was more diverse, both economically and culturally. Ethan's best friend became a kid named Noah, whose mom, Michelle, was also a single parent working 2 jobs. They bonded over packed lunches and hand-me-down clothes, things that had made Ethan self-conscious at his old school when he'd compare himself to his cousins. I started noticing small changes in him. He volunteered to answer questions in class more often, according to his teacher. He tried out for the school play and got a small part as a dinosaur, typecasting at its finest, but he was thrilled. He stopped prefacing requests with, "I know we probably can't afford it, but..." One evening, about 4 months after we'd moved, Ethan and I were making dinner together. Boxed mac and cheese with hot dogs cut up in it, our comfort meal. Out of nowhere, he said, "I'm glad we moved." I looked at him in surprise. "Yeah," he continued. "At my old school, I always felt like I had to be quiet, like if I was too loud or too happy about something, it was showing off. But here, nobody cares." Noah got really excited about his new sneakers yesterday. They were from Walmart, and everyone thought they were cool. Nobody made fun of him. I hadn't realized how much the comparison to his wealthier cousins had been affecting him at his old school. Kids talk. They probably heard their parents discussing Sophia's big house or nice cars, and Ethan had absorbed the implicit message that he was less than them. "You should always be able to get excited about things that make you happy," I told him. "I know that now," he said, stirring the noodles with intense concentration. "I think Grandma and Aunt Sophia didn't want me to be too happy because it made them feel weird." From the mouths of babes. My 9-year-old had articulated something I'd been dancing around for years. We celebrated holidays alone that first year. Thanksgiving was just the 2 of us, with a small turkey and whatever sides Ethan wanted. Christmas was modest but happy. I watched my son become more confident, more open, less worried about not being enough. I eventually unblocked my mom and sister, but I never reached out. They sent occasional texts that I rarely responded to. Mostly, we existed in separate worlds. Then came this past summer, almost exactly a year since we'd left. Ethan turned 10, and I planned something special. I'd saved enough to take him to a dinosaur exhibit 3 hours away, followed by a weekend at a water park resort. It was the trip of a lifetime for him. Before we left, I'd asked Ethan if he wanted to invite a friend. My budget could stretch to include 1 more kid. His eyes had lit up, and he'd immediately said Noah. Noah's mom, Michelle, had nearly cried when I offered. She worked as a night nurse and barely had time to take Noah anywhere beyond school and the occasional park visit. "Are you sure?" Michelle had asked me 3 times. "That's so generous. Ethan wants him there. It'll be more fun for both of them. And honestly, I'd love the company, too." Michelle insisted on paying her own way, her hotel room and Noah's meals, which I understood. She had her pride just like I did. But I covered the exhibit tickets and water park passes for all of us as Ethan's birthday gift to his best friend. The trip was everything I'd hoped for and more. Watching Ethan and Noah race through the dinosaur exhibit, pointing out species and debating which period was superior, Ethan was firmly Cretaceous, Noah argued for Jurassic, filled me with a joy I hadn't felt in years. At the water park, they went down every slide at least twice, their laughter echoing across the pools. On the second night, after the boys had crashed in their hotel beds, Michelle and I sat on the small balcony sharing a bottle of cheap wine. "Thank you for including Noah," she said. "He hasn't stopped smiling for 2 days. Thank you for letting him come. Ethan's having the time of his life. Can I ask you something?" Michelle swirled her wine. "Noah mentioned that Ethan used to live somewhere else, that you guys left suddenly." I gave her the abbreviated version. She listened without interrupting, her expression darkening as I explained about the cancelled party. "Over a birthday party," she finally said. "They really chose that hill to die on, apparently. Good riddance. You and Ethan are better off." She raised her glass. "To kids who deserve better and moms who make sure they get it." We clinked glasses, and I felt grateful for this new friend who understood struggle and sacrifice and the fierce protectiveness of single motherhood. I posted photos on Facebook, something I rarely did. Ethan grinning in front of a T-Rex skeleton. Ethan going down a massive water slide. Ethan with his new friends at the hotel pool. Every picture showed a kid who was absolutely radiating happiness. I should have known it would cause problems. The messages started immediately. My mom's sister, my Aunt Brenda, commented, "So glad to see you two are doing well. We've missed you." Several of my cousins liked the photos and left heart emojis. Then Sophia's comment appeared, "Nice to see some people can afford extravagant vacations. Must be nice." I deleted it and made my post friends only, but the damage was done. 2 days after we got home, I received a message request on Facebook from someone I didn't know. It was from a woman named Natalie who explained she was Liam's new stepmother. Sophia had remarried 8 months ago. Apparently, her message was long and rambling, but the core of it was this: Chloe, Liam, and Ava had somehow seen Ethan's vacation photos, probably because Sophia had shown them while ranting. They'd asked their mother why they didn't get trips like that. Sophia had spiraled, gone on a rant about how I was spoiling Ethan while her children had to do without, how I'd always been selfish, how I'd abandoned the family. Natalie was messaging me because things had gotten bad. Sophia had shown up at our mom's house screaming about favoritism and how mom had always loved me more, even though Sophia was the successful one. She'd apparently brought up Ethan's cancelled birthday party, claiming that mom choosing my side had shattered their relationship. What Natalie described next made my jaw drop. According to her, Sophia had convinced herself of an alternate reality. In Sophia's version of events, she'd been trying to teach her children about sharing and inclusivity by suggesting the joint party. I had selfishly refused, and then mom had rewarded my selfishness by secretly funding our new life. Sophia had apparently spent months stewing over this imagined betrayal, collecting evidence that didn't exist, building a case in her mind. Natalie had only been part of the family for 8 months, but she'd witnessed enough of Sophia's obsession to be concerned. She said Sophia would spend hours scrolling through any public social media she could find of me, looking for clues about my finances. She'd apparently tried to contact my old landlord, asking questions about whether anyone had helped pay my rent, though the landlord had refused to give out any information. She'd even asked her financial advisor friend to estimate vacation costs based on the photos, trying to prove the money had come from somewhere suspicious. The level of obsession was frightening. According to Natalie, Sophia had accused Mom of secretly helping me financially, which was how I could afford the vacation. Mom had denied it, and things escalated. Sophia had said horrible things about Mom, about me, about Ethan. Mom had ordered her to leave. Sophia had refused, her voice getting louder and more aggressive. Mom had called the police. When they arrived, they'd managed to get Sophia to leave without arresting her. But it had been a close call. Natalie wanted me to know that Sophia was now telling everyone who would listen that I'd brainwashed Ethan, that I was keeping him from his family, that I was a terrible mother raising a spoiled brat. She'd apparently created a whole narrative where I was the villain who'd shattered the family because I refused to share Ethan's birthday party with Chloe. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I blocked Natalie, too. But the drama wasn't over. My mom called from a number I didn't recognize. I answered without thinking. Harper. Her voice was strained. I need you to come home. We need to fix this family. I am home, Mom. This is where I live now. You know what I mean. Sophia is out of control. She's telling everyone you're a horrible person. She showed people those photos of Ethan and said you're rubbing your wealth in everyone's face. I'm not wealthy. I saved for months for that trip. That's what I told her. But she won't listen. She's furious about something. And I think if you just talk to her. No, Mom. Do you remember what you said to me over a year ago? You said I was selfish for wanting to give my son a birthday party. You told me family comes first, and then you proved that by family you meant Sophia and her kids. You cancelled Ethan's party to protect their feelings. I thought I was doing the right thing. For who? Not for Ethan. Not for me. I was trying to keep the peace by sacrificing us. You chose Sophia, and I accepted that. We left. We built a life without you, and we're happy. Ethan is happy. Look at those photos. That's what happy looks like. He could be happy here too, with family. We tried that. You made it clear we didn't fit into your version of family. So, we found our own. Sophia is saying terrible things about you. About Ethan. Don't you want to defend yourself? Not particularly. The people who matter know the truth. She's falling apart, Harper. This feud with me is consuming her. She's convinced I've been giving you money. That I love you more. That I ruined her children's lives by not letting them share Ethan's party. That's not my problem to fix. She's your sister. She's someone who thought my son's birthday party should be cancelled so her kids wouldn't feel overshadowed. That's not a sister. That's a competitor who sees a 9-year-old child as a threat. Mom was quiet for a long moment. I didn't handle things well. No, you didn't. Can you forgive me? I thought about Ethan. About how peaceful our life had become. Maybe someday. But forgiveness doesn't mean going back to how things were. We're not coming back, Mom. This is our home now. What about holidays? What about family gatherings? We'll have our own. We've been doing fine. Ethan needs his grandmother. Ethan needs people who put him first. You proved you wouldn't do that. She started crying. I was trying to be fair to everyone. You weren't fair to everyone. You were appeasing Sophia because she throws tantrums. There's a difference. So that's it? You're just gone forever? I'm not gone. I'm just not available to be your scapegoat anymore. If Sophia needs someone to blame for her unhappiness, she'll have to find a new target. She's blaming me now. Then maybe you understand how it feels. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt lighter. Over the next few weeks, I heard through extended family that Sophia and Mom's relationship had completely imploded. Sophia was demanding apologies for decades of perceived slights. Mom was holding firm on boundaries for the first time in her life. Sophia's new husband was apparently caught in the middle trying to mediate. The cousins, Chloe, Liam, and Ava, had apparently been asking about Ethan. They'd seen his happy vacation photos and started questioning why they never did things like that. Sophia had no good answer except that their mother worked hard and provided for them, which of course prompted the question of why Ethan got to go on special trips if his mom also worked hard. From what I gathered, Sophia had constructed an entire mythology in her children's minds about how their family was better, more accomplished, more deserving than Ethan and me. Seeing evidence that we were not only surviving but thriving without them had shattered that narrative. Chloe, now 12, had apparently asked her mother directly, "Did you really cancel Ethan's birthday party because you didn't want him to have something we didn't have?" Sophia had denied it, but the kids had overheard enough adult conversations to piece together the truth. They were angry at their mother. They were confused about why their grandmother and aunt weren't in their lives anymore. The perfect family image Sophia had carefully constructed was crumbling. My Aunt Brenda called me last month. She and I had always been close, and I'd stayed in limited contact with her. "Your mother wants to see Ethan," she said gently. "She's been asking me to reach out to you. Why doesn't she call me herself? She's afraid you'll say no." "She's probably right." Brenda sighed. "Harper, I know what happened with the birthday party. Your mom told me everything. She knows she was wrong." "Does she?" "She said as much. She told me she's been seeing a therapist, and she's realized she enabled Sophia's behavior for years. She said her therapist has helped her understand that she sacrificed her relationship with you to keep Sophia happy. She's trying to make things right. Good for her. But that doesn't fix what she did to Ethan." "No, it doesn't. But he's her grandson. She loves him. She had a funny way of showing it. People make mistakes. She chose wrong. She knows that now." I didn't respond. "Will you at least think about letting her see him?" Brenda asked. "Maybe a neutral meeting. I could be there." "I'll think about it," I said, knowing I probably wouldn't. The truth is, I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. Ethan is thriving in his new school. He has friends who like him for himself, not because they're obligated by family ties. He's in advanced science classes and is talking about being a paleontologist when he grows up. He laughs easily and often. He doesn't ask about his grandmother or aunt anymore. We've built something real here, something that doesn't require us to make ourselves smaller so others can feel bigger. Ethan learned at 9 years old that sometimes the people who are supposed to love you will hurt you, and that it's okay to walk away from that hurt. Is that sad? Maybe. But it's also empowering. I think about that week before his 9th birthday sometimes. The excitement in his eyes when he talked about the bounce house. The way he sobbed when I told him the party was cancelled. The quiet disappointment that settled over him like a shadow. Then I think about last month, watching him run through that water park with new friends, his face split in the biggest smile I'd ever seen. He turned to me at one point and yelled, "Mom, this is the best birthday ever." That's the difference. That's what happens when you prioritize your child's happiness over other people's comfort. Sophia apparently had a complete breakdown 3 weeks ago. She showed up at Mom's house at midnight, drunk, screaming about how everything was my fault, how I turned Mom against her, how I poisoned her children's minds, how I was selfish and cruel and didn't understand what it meant to be family. Mom called the police again. Sophia was arrested for public intoxication and disturbing the peace. Her husband bailed her out. She's apparently in therapy now, dealing with what the therapist is calling narcissistic tendencies and an inability to process not being the center of attention. Mom's therapist, she started seeing one too, apparently told her that she'd enabled Sophia's behavior for years and sacrificed her relationship with me to keep Sophia happy. Mom's working through the guilt of that now. Meanwhile, Chloe asked if she could write to Ethan. Mom passed the request through Brenda, who passed it to me. I told Brenda that if Chloe wanted to write a letter, she could, but I wasn't making any promises about whether Ethan would want to read it or respond. A week later, Brenda forwarded me a scanned copy of a handwritten letter from Chloe. It's saved in my email, unopened. I don't know if I'll show it to Ethan or not. He's happy now. Do I risk that by reopening connections to people who hurt him? Liam and Ava apparently ask about Ethan constantly. They want to know where he lives, what his school is like, if he's made friends. They've told their mother they want to visit us. Sophia has refused. The family is shattered. Exactly like I said it would be. Mom barely speaks to Sophia. Sophia's marriage is strained. The kids are in family counseling. Extended family members have taken sides. Sophia's eldest, Chloe, just turned 12. And from what Brenda tells me, the party was a quiet affair, nothing like the elaborate celebration Sophia had envisioned a year ago. And Ethan and I? We're planning his 11th birthday party. He wants to invite his whole class to a laser tag arena. We're going to do it, and it's going to be amazing. And nobody is going to guilt us about it or demand to be included or tell us we're being selfish. Because here's what I learned, protecting your child doesn't make you selfish. Setting boundaries doesn't make you cruel. Walking away from toxicity doesn't make you the villain. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is pack up in the middle of the night and disappear. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for your child is remove them from people who see them as less than. Ethan is happy. That's all that matters. Sophia couldn't handle seeing evidence of that happiness because it contradicted her narrative about us being lost without the family. The meltdown that followed wasn't my fault. It was the inevitable result of years of entitlement and enabling coming to a head. The family shattered, yes, but maybe it needed to. Maybe some things are too broken to fix. And the healthiest option is to build something new from scratch. That's what Ethan and I did. We built a new life, a better life, a life where a 9-year-old boy gets to have a birthday party without it becoming a family crisis. And honestly, I have no regrets. What would you have done in my situation?